this is a bit of a side show, but it is a show. The Peter Strzok, he was the head of counterintelligence. I think he's been reassigned. He was on the Clinton and Trump cases. He apparently was having an affair and was text messaging the woman he was having an affair with, who also worked in the FBI. And the guy seems to have a very cynical perspective on a lot of politicians, including Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And he has been relieved of his duties on the Mueller investigation for over a year. And I will remind you that Donald Trump has been president for about a year and 5 months. So,
long time.
A lot of stuff has theoretically happened over the past year in terms of that investigation. Yet, the Republicans, they think this is going to motivate the base in some way, or this is going to provide. I actually don't think this is going to motivate their base. It may keep some in line, but I don't think it's going to add some motivation.
Trying to kill the whole credibility of any
right.
investigation.
The muddy waters.
Muddy the waters.
It might motivate some fundraisers too.
Yeah.
It might but the one thing I have to say that I walked away from these hearings, and I'm sort of agnostic about this Strzok guy. I mean, I think he did a pretty good job relative to the situation he was in. I think it was perfectly legitimate to take him off once it became public, these texts became public, then I think it was clear he needed to go. But what I really stood out for me was it almost feels like there is some type of IQ test, if you will, that is administered to congresspeople when they come in. And they simply say, like, if you score below like a 60, you're going to be a Republican. And if you score above like 100, you're going to be a Democrat. Like, that was the one thing that came across to me was like, my God, these guys are all dumb. And I also thought it was amazing how quiet Jim Jordan was. That was weird. But here is the
documents.
All right, so let's start with Peter Strzok's. This is his opening statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is, however, one extraordinarily important piece of evidence supporting my integrity, the integrity of the FBI, and our lack of bias. In the summer of 2016, I was one of a handful of people who knew the details of Russian election interference and its possible connections with members of the Trump campaign. This information had the potential to derail and quite possibly defeat Mr. Trump. But the thought of expressing that or exposing that information never crossed my mind. That's what FBI agents do every single day, and that's why I'm so proud of the Bureau.
Gee, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so that's his opening statement, but here is the guy who was investigating Benghazi for 14 years, it seems like. It was really, I guess, just like 7 years. Trey Gowdy, who is resigning, right, from Congress?
Yep. He's not seeking another term, as far as I know.
But gosh knows what he's going to be running for. Because he really, here is Strzok and Gowdy. This is the one time I thought Strzok was like, getting passionate and angry. And with Gowdy, and this was relatively early in the hearings.
And your testimony is Bob Mueller did not kick you off because of the content of your text. He kicked you off because of some appearance that he was worried about.
Sure. My testimony, what you asked and what I responded to, was that he kicked me off because of my bias. I'm stating to you it is not my understanding that he kicked me off because of any bias, that it was done based on the appearance. If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Cummings.
Point of order,
Mr. Chairman, can I respond to
answer the questions that you promised him he would have an opportunity to answer? We endured 15 minutes of badgering of the witness. Can he be allowed now to answer as you promised, Mr. Chairman?
The gentleman will suspend. The witness at any time can ask for additional time to respond to any member's question if the time has been
you
ended.
said you were going to give him that opportunity at the end.
I am giving him that opportunity.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond to?
Yes, you may.
Yes, you got it.
Pause it for 1 second. Incidentally, it's interesting to note that because that happened very early in the hearing. I think in the first half hour. By hour 10 or even 7, the chairman, Goodlatte, was not allowing Strzok to respond. And Strzok, to his credit, he seemed to respond to everything.
Right.
He, in some instances, he said, FBI counsel has told me I can't answer that question because he still works for the FBI. But he responded to even non-questions, which I think was helpful for him. But continue.
At the end
I am giving him that opportunity.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond to?
Yes, you may.
Yes, you got it. Sir, I think it's important when you look at those texts that you understand the context in which they were made and the things that were going on across America. In terms of the text that we will stop it, you need to understand that that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population would not elect somebody demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States. It was in no way, unequivocally, any suggestion that me, the FBI, would take any action whatsoever to improperly impact the electoral process.
I think he did that perfectly. He's
Yeah.
just the basic, obvious human response, and he's talking about, I think it was the Khan family.
Yeah,
there's so many of these things. It's like Trump's just this unending stream of disgusting that we don't even remember that. But he demeaned a Muslim immigrant family whose kid died in Iraq, and he just was saying, like a lot of people said, I think from all walks of life, everybody from
That's the Raskin clip. We're gonna play.
Well, yeah, let's play that Raskin clip because, like you say, Strzok, and he brought up the Khan family. He said, let me tell you why I wrote this about Donald Trump, because he's a disgusting guy. Right. And everybody thought that at the time. He didn't go as far as saying, I still think he's disgusting, but he did say he's a disgusting guy. Everybody thought it. And then Congressman Jamie Raskin from Maryland. He brings home that point quite well.
Those statements. In the spring of 2016, Senator Ted Cruz called Donald Trump a, quote, sniveling coward, a pathological liar, and a serial philanderer. Was this attack on Trump by Senator Ted Cruz a coordinated part of a deep state conspiracy that you organized?
No.
On August 8th, 2016, Senator Marco Rubio said Donald Trump was, quote, unworthy of being our president. Was this attack part of a deep state conspiracy that you organized?
No.
In October of 2016, Speaker Paul Ryan said, I am not going to defend Donald Trump, not now, not in the future. Was this fleeting outburst of moral courage part of a deep state conspiracy that you organized?
No.
Former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson called Donald Trump a moron. Former EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt said he's an empty vessel when it comes to the Constitution. Steve Bannon said he's like an 11-year-old child. General H.R. McMaster referred to Donald Trump reportedly as a dope and an idiot with the intelligence of a kindergartner. Karl Rove called him a complete idiot. Representative Duncan Hunter said he's an a-hole, but he's our a-hole. And the director of the National Economic Council, Gary Cohn, reportedly sent out an email describing Trump as an idiot surrounded by clowns. Were all of these vituperative negative characterizations of Donald Trump part of a deep state GOP conspiracy engineered by you and your friends?
No.
Were any of these statements part of a conspiracy you organized?
No.
Now, although this conspiracy does appear to be overwhelmingly Republican if it exists, balance compels me to ask you about my hero, Bruce Springsteen. Unlike the others who are all Republicans, Springsteen's a Democrat, and he said, "The Republic is under siege by a moron." Did you tell him to say that?
No.
Was it part of a deep state conspiracy to criticize the president?
No.
Mr. Strzok, this hearing has been a circus and a kangaroo court run in banana Republican fashion. And I believe that some of my colleagues have disgraced themselves today in their attack on the FBI and the justice system of America. How can we recover from the hole that has been dug here today?
And apparently Raskin did not think that Strzok had the ability to answer that question. I mean, it's well done. I mean, this is all just, like I say, this is a bunch of kabuki theater. And the question is there was the Republicans control the committee. Of course, it's going to get attention because it's a show. Nobody really knows like what the relevance of any of this stuff is. You know, in the final analysis, impeachment of a president is a political process. Period. End of story. Right? Like everybody has this fevered dream that Mueller is going to walk in there and throw cuffs on Donald Trump. That's not going to happen. He's going to deliver a report, and then after that, it's really going to be about the political process. And in many respects, the Republican Party has been gearing up for this fight
Right.
by making it a political process now. And they know what their game plan is. We're going to undercut this investigation even before it has its conclusions. So this is a sideshow in terms of getting to the truth. It is not a sideshow in terms of accountability down the road.
Right.
And so these performances by Strzok and by the Democrats are relevant. Maybe not for the Trump voters, for the Republicans, but it's relevant for, you know, frankly, the people in the middle who don't pay attention to too much. And when, you know, push comes to shove, you know, what are they going to hear about this? And that's why this stuff is important, because they're building a political, I don't want to say case, but it's a political campaign. And ultimately, if there's any accountability for Donald Trump, it's going to come in this context, unless he loses in 2020, and then I imagine he'll just go to prison shortly after the first trial.
Nice.
And that will be fun. That will be fun to watch.